women and men who died from the attack on Pearl Harbor, let us be mindful of the history of this great country and appreciative of those who rise to the ultimate call to service in order to protect our freedom. Let us rise and pledge allegiance to our flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will get started this evening with our reports and correspondence.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. Board of Education, we did have one correspondence. The Board of Education received actually a letter from a staff member, and the staff member was singing the accolades of another staff member and the work that that person is doing with gathering and coordinating gifts for Anyway, it's a correspondence giving accolades to a staff member that was putting together a series of gifts and donations in this holiday season for families and students that are in need. So I thank both staff members, one first for acknowledging another staff member, and certainly the staff member that's coordinating the effort. Thank you very much. They wanted to have the board. Good luck. That's it for correspondence.
I wanted to, at this time, invite those who will be giving us an amazing treat this evening.
We're going to perform the Star Spangled Banner for you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Much better than anything I can do.
Thank you so much. Moving on to our superintendent's report with Mr. Michael Brooks.
As I said, good evening. Thank you very much for coming out. I'm actually looking forward to tonight's presentation of the high school staff, certainly headed off by our principal, Mr. Lawler, but it appears that there's going to be a lot of student involvement, so I'm really looking forward to this, Mr. Lawler. In my report, I'd actually like to defer to two people. My first is to defer to Ms. Mealy, who is just going to talk a little bit about a neat program that is about to begin. So, Ms. Mealy, if you could talk a little bit about the Unified Sports Program.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I just want the board and the community to be aware that under the direction of Athletic Director John O'Donnell, Marlboro High School is going to be participating in a new program called Unified Sports, which allows our students that are currently in our prep class here at the high school that are in an alternate program to participate in interscholastic sports with other schools within our sporting community. So we are going to be piloting a basketball team, which includes our students currently in the life skills program, along with students in the regular education program at the high school, to participate in athletic games. There's 6 games scheduled throughout the area where they go and compete with other schools. The unique characteristic of this sports program is the students have partners that will help coach and play with them on the court during these games. We have a volunteer coach who's one of our teachers here at the high school who's going to volunteer his time to help coach the students. Jonna, through her current budget, is going to have uniforms for the team as well as provide transportation. There is some money that is donated through the Special Olympics to help support this, but we're looking at creating this as a permanent program within our current athletic program here at the high school. So we're excited to start this pilot program.
You know, it's really exciting to see something like this come together, and there's opportunities for us to expand these offerings, anything that we can do in this area. I know that there's a tremendous amount of support from this Board of Education. So really, this came from some meetings that John O'Donnell, our athletic director, had attended, and it was an agenda item. She really picked up on it and spoke about it with the principal and also with me, and then with Ms. Mealy to put this together. So kudos to both our athletic director and our director of student services. Thank you very much.
Well, I do have that because this is something that 3 years I have done. I'm very proud that we're part of this right now. It is a long time coming, and I'm actually very excited to see this for these young people. So thank you, and thank you, Mrs. O'Donnell. I'm very proud that Mrs. O'Donnell has actually come and help them find the other schools to be part of this. This is a big thing for all students. Thank you.
Now, I'm actually going to put the next person on the spot a little bit, so I'll let Ms. Heck know that she's the person that's going to be on the spot. But give a little intro into what I'm going to put her on the spot for. We had a meeting today with a series of 6th and 12th grade teachers and administrators with a focus on a Board of Education goal that is asking the administration to look at our STEAM and STEM offerings. In case you don't know what that means, STEAM is science, technology, engineering, and math. STEM, excuse me. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Now, the acronym is growing longer to include more letters, so really, we focused it in on what is it that our current program is doing, and what is it that our current program is not doing that we need to work on for preparing our students for going out into the world. So a group of about 25 or so people got together today and started looking and talking and exploring, and today really was an opening day to look at those exact elements. So with a little bit of a delay time there, I wonder if I could pass it over to Ms. Heck to get her perception of today, so that the board is aware that we are starting to progress towards that very important goal.
It was a very, thank you. It was very collaborative and collegial meeting of teachers from all disciplines who came together and just talked about, as Mr. Brooks shared, what we're doing now, what we need to do to make sure that our students remain successful as they leave the Marlboro Central School District. We have plans of meeting again late January, early February, to continue that discussion. There were multiple ideas that were discussed. Very, very good ideas. Real conversation, honest conversation. It was excellent.
Thank you, Ms. Heck. And with that, I don't have anything else to report. So we can go to high school. We're ready.
First, we have
have a report for Orange Ulster BOCES?
No, last night I did not attend our meeting. I had a family obligation.
And Mr. Milazzo, Ulster BOCES?
Last Thursday was our meeting. Probably the best speaker we've ever had at one of these meetings. Bill Daggett was there, founder and chairman of International Center for Leadership and Education. Really brought out a whole different concept on where education should be going and how probably a whole industrial revolution off with where things need to be and how to improve and how to move things forward. I know Mr. Brooks had the opportunity to hear him speak at the superintendent's conference. He used to be at State Ed, so I know Mike's going to look into seeing how we can build on his ideas and thoughts. And if you have the opportunity when he's at something, I know we've got his PowerPoint that we can share with everybody. Really made you think about things and where nanotechnology is going and how we all should be really planning for very, very long lives, and retirement planning should be for much, much longer, because with where it's going and the things they're going to do, it's scary but exciting at the same time.
I'll make sure I get that PowerPoint out to everybody. Ms. Heck and I actually have a scheduled conference call with Bill Daggett Friday,
Great.
a week from tomorrow. So we're going to explore ways that we might be able to engage him. Certainly in the process that started today, we started to look at our program, but also in administrative supports for leadership development too.
Great.
And he was the associate at the Board of Regents of Albany that was in charge of testing in New York State for manufacturing.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. That was really it. Everything else was really just talking about legislative sessions.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ryan Waller, principal of the high school, to provide us with the high school academic program.
All right, the board may want to go out and have a seat so you can see everything. All right, so the first thing I want to do is talk about what you saw when you came in here tonight. We had our advanced students in art have portfolios out in the area. In fact, one of our students is going to talk about his portfolio in that process later on in the presentation. The brass quintet, you can see the student names mentioned here, and our select chorus, and the amazing job they did at the Star Spangled Banner. At this point, I'd like to invite up Ms. Giacoya and Mr. Portolano to assist with the FCCLA awards.
Good evening. I'm Anne-Marie Giacoya. I'm a film and consumer science teacher here in Marlborough. I'm also the advisor for the middle school and the high school FCCLA chapter. FCCLA stands for Family, Career, Community Leaders of America. It's a youth leadership program. We're here tonight to actually acknowledge the students who participated on the national level in competition, and also others who have holding state offices. First, I've got Emma Briner and Emma Rebke down at that end. They competed in the Environmental Ambassador event. They created a portfolio on making your home green, a green living environment, along with a display. And if you have a chance later, you can take a look at their portfolio and their display on how to make your home green. Jessica Singh. Okay, competed in the Focus on Children event. Girls, you want to come up with pictures? Jessica Singh competed in the Focus on Children event, working with some local children on healthy activities like karate, dance, and other physical activity for their health. Sophia Benanti and Isabella Bakari competed in Focus on Children also. They focused on literacy and drama as a form of expression. Emily Rifkin and Grace McKay were chosen by New York State to be room consultants. Room consultants worked with the team of judges over the course of the 4 days at Nationals. We were in Nashville this summer. They worked really hard on their projects. They gained many skills, including things like time management, problem solving, communication skills, and most of all, lots and lots of patience. I also have here with me today Jason Jabardisi, who will be a New York State officer starting in March. Emma Feeney, who could not be here this evening, is our New York State corresponding Vice President of Communications. And Awanya Mattis is also an officer-elect who will be becoming an officer in March. They all attended summer leadership training for their job as an officer and what that will entail.
All right, thank you, everybody. Congratulations. Thanks for coming tonight. And as they walk down and we get ready for our next guests, I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's really amazing how many people are here. It's really a tribute to our school. We're going to go through a couple of awards at first, and then we're going to go through a presentation, Mr. Portolano, myself, and then the best part of the evening by far is going to be our students talking about the things that they do in class every day. So we're really excited to have you here tonight. Next up, we're going to have Nina Hatsianakis. Did I get that? Kinda? Okay, come on up, and Mr. DeMarco, come on up. All right, so this past summer, Nina attended a conference in Boston. There were thousands of high school students who were there, and she received an award. So I'm gonna read it. There's a lot of words. She went to the Congress of Future Science and Technology Leaders, and she received an award for outstanding leadership and science potential. So she was chosen from thousands of students, and we're really proud of her and her accomplishment. She's got a bright future. Congratulations, Nina. All right, so Mr. Portolano, if you want to come up this time. All right, so we're going to talk about our school. Before we get going on some of the details of the school, this is our core philosophy, relentless pursuit of excellence. The three essential questions: how are we doing? Are we teaching the right things? Are we teaching them well? And then the emphasis on the academics, the arts, and the athletics. Our goal is to continually challenge students to take the most challenging classes and graduate with the highest diploma possible. So for each student, that's a different goal. It's really about what is best for each student's program, and so we emphasize that. And a lot of our work is in working with individual students, counselors, and teachers to make sure that we are achieving that goal for students. We'll never stop trying to achieve that goal. In terms of an enrollment snapshot, this shows, I'm not going to read all the numbers, but it shows we have 585 students split amongst the grades. We're roughly about 145 students a grade when we average things out. And then we do have 7 students in our prep program. There's some information about our classified percentage and 504 percentage, and then we also have a number of students who receive E&L services in our school. In terms of diplomas and credentials, I'm going to take a little bit of time on this topic. And I'm going to make a distinction because you're going to notice some of the slides, the numbers aren't going to necessarily match unless you understand the distinction. So
We're going to talk about the top number is our Marlboro High School graduation rate. The way that that is figured out by New York State, that's a 4-year cohort graduation rate. So that means students that would have entered high school in September of 2013, and whether or not they graduated with a local, Regents, or advanced diploma by June of 2017, which we just went through. So our percentage is 93.2, and you can see the number, that's 137 graduates out of 147 students in that cohort. The number underneath is our school district rate, which counts our out-of-district place students as well. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. That number is 90.1%. In terms of our diploma percentages, 89% of our students received a Regents diploma or better, 10.9% a local diploma, and then a Regents diploma with advanced designation, about 44% of our students. Talk about some of the other distinctions. There are 40 programs that are available through our Career and Technical Academy at Orange Ulster BOCES. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, and we have some students who are going to present about that. In terms of the class, it shows the number of students. Roughly 10% of our students do attend CTEC. It's about 35 students per class that will end up going there. Last year, our 2017 grads, we had 46% go to 4-year colleges, 38% went to 2-year colleges, and then we have smaller percentages of the military, workforce, trade and technical school, and there are some students who are undecided. This is a graph, so what we look at with this, and the board has the printouts, basically the orange number, we want that number to be as small as it possibly can be. We want students to progress from local diploma to Regents and advanced diplomas, and anybody that is in the gray bar is also included in the black bar. So now I'm going to talk about the 4-year graduation rate. Now again, this is going to look at the school district's graduation rate. So we look historically where we are, we go anywhere from 86% right through 90%. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about that. These are the students, because I'm going to be honest with you, and Mr. Brooks knows this, the context for this for me is I want every single student in this building to graduate or get a credential, and achieve something meaningful for their life moving forward. So it's actually personally, it starts with a frustration for me that I see a number from New York State that I read, and I remember just reading it going, that's not right. It can't be right. It doesn't make sense to me, with the experiences that we've had with students. And so as you parse through the information, I'm going to explain a little bit of that, and then also some of the interventions that we're taking part in to make sure that we reach success for every student. So again, our graduation rate, the 10 students would be in the high schools. That was 137 graduated out of 147. We have 10 students then in our high school cohort that did not get a local Regents or advanced diploma. Of that number, 4 are what I'm going to call missed graduation requirements, which means that they were progressing but just did not happen to graduate in time. We have 1 student who graduated in August. We have 2 other students we're anticipating will graduate by June of 2018, so they'll make it in the 5-year cycle. And then 1 student just happened to leave school and the community. In terms of the 6 non-graduates, we did have 6 other non-graduates in the school that a lot of it was non-attendance and students just having to struggle through the academic program. So we obviously have to focus our efforts on working toward getting students through in the 4-year range, and then also making sure that we try to capture those students. Attendance has actually been a major focus of our school and certainly of our administrative office in the last 2 years. We constantly are trying to make sure that we're encouraging families and working with agencies to make sure students are successful when they're coming to school. There were 5 students who were out of district place, and so this is where some of those numbers can be misleading in my view. I talked to Ms. Mealy about this because she's keenly aware of these students and their needs and their progress. 4 of those 5 students are actually achieving or have achieved the TASC, which is the new GED, which is a credential that is aligned and makes sense for their program. So in our view, they're actually attaining success. And then there was 1 student in the district numbers that did leave school. I'm going to let Mr. Cordolano talk about our responses.
Thank you, Mr. Lawler. Again, Mr. Lawler is right. We want every one of our kids to graduate. Yes, there are kids. What we talk about is responses that we help kids. As you can see, we use peer tutors a lot. We pair the younger students or a student at risk with someone who's been here a while or on National Honor Society to get them academically in order. The RTI process is something that we use. Every month we have a meeting. We have our department coordinators, special ed teachers involved. We have our student assistance counselor, as well as our school psychologist. And we bring kids up that we see could be having problems. And we try to give them the help they need at the earliest possible place and intervention. For attendance, we have a person, Ms. Klug, who works hard. Every month, we go run a report. And in that report, we look at students have accumulated a certain number of absences as well as tardiness to school. We send letters home. We make phone calls. We are relentless as this. We want our students in the building. We have achieved some success with this. As the rest you can see, we have a grant point program. These are kids who didn't make it. They failed their class, either 55 or 60. And what it equates is they have a certain amount of hours that they have to do in this program in order to receive credit for that course. This is a great program, Ms. Heck. Thank you. It works. And as you can see the rest, again, our fluency programs, math. We're doing everything we possibly can to get our scores up, to get our students the help that they need, as well as English, when we have our literacy programs. Next slide, sir.
So I'll go through an academic overview. Basically, the process of continuous improvement, we talk about that. Every issue, to us is something that we want to work on and improve. Every success that we have, we really want to brag about. I'm going to take an opportunity to plug the Twitter account at Go MHS Dukes, because there are hundreds of tweets that are sent out there. Students are sick of me taking pictures of them. I know that. I don't care. It's not going to stop, because to me, it's an incredible source of pride of the things that are being accomplished in our school. So we'll go through the numbers and the information for our college credits. We really have a number of students, about 20% of our students, who will graduate every year. It's been happening for a few years now, with essentially a year of college that has been completed. So that's really amazing. I mean, students that take full advantage of our program can walk away with a year completed in a 4-year college program. And it shows the courses that we have there: English, U.S. history, macroeconomics, psychology, sociology, algebra, astronomy, biology, calculus, Spanish. We've got 2 levels of that, and statistics. There also is an advanced placement program. Sometimes it makes sense for us to run courses through College Board and Advanced Placement. Sometimes it makes sense for us to partner with colleges, and you see the courses that are offered there. We've got listed through AP. We have AP Calculus, AP Chemistry, AP Language and Composition, AP Music Theory, AP Physics, AP Portfolio Development, AP Statistics, and AP World History. And we do have a continued emphasis on co-taught and kind of expanding that program so that we're having students in a co-taught model. And essentially what that means is students who are either students who need help with school or students who maybe need help adjusting to the English language in our school. There'll be 2 teachers in the room, a core teacher and then a teacher who will assist the students with needs or the students with the learning needs of the language. And so that model is certainly a direction that New York State has pushed in for a few years, and we've embraced it. Really has caused our students and our teachers to have a much more successful experience in the main setting. In terms of our some of our other accomplishments, so that is the grand total of college credits that were earned in the high school setting last year. There's 1,884, and then 136 advanced placement exams were taken. That's in addition to the college credits. And then we had 30 graduates earn a career and technical education endorsement. So after completing 2 years at Orange Ulster BOCES, they get a credential or a license. It depends on the program, which then has prepared them to go into a trade or into a college program or directly into the workforce, depending on the program and the goals. And then we did have 32 graduates last year who were in the National Honor Society. So this chart is a to be continued. This is a chart we showed last year, which compared our Regents results with other schools in the Orange Ulster BOCES consortium. Unfortunately, the data from New York State is still embargoed. In fact, I checked this morning, and it's still not available, so we can't see how we're progressing versus others on some of these Regent scores. But you can see last year's information up there. I'm obviously not going to read that. It shows a pass percentage, pass and mastery percentage, and then in addition to that, it shows our rank in the Orange Ulster BOCES County. And so we will update this chart when it's possible so that we can reflect on it. So this is really This is the big deal about Regents testing, from my view, is that after the exam happens, this is months ago, departments immediately take a look at the Regents exams. They diagnose and look at where we had difficulty, they look at our successes. We know then where we can target our instruction for the following year. So this chart is going to have a summary, and I'm going to break it down to really a couple of key concepts because there's a lot of similarities in what you see in different areas of the chart. Literacy, understanding what is being read and what's being asked for in the Regents, that continues to be an area that, especially as the exams change, that students in many districts, and certainly in ours, tend to struggle with, is understanding all of the questions, especially some of the more complex questions. One of the things we noticed last year in math and science is a term called modeling. And modeling is where it seems like the state is moving to a place where sometimes they're giving less information in terms of charts and examples to students in some of the questions. And so in some cases that was kind of a new reality last year in June, which has prompted us to make adjustments. This year we're working on teaching our students to make sure they know how to take what's written in the questions and to build their own models, their own graphs, their own diagrams, so that they can do a better job of answering those questions. CTEC program, so I did talk before about how we send a number of our students to CTEC. I think this is it's a great program. We're extremely proud of our students. And our culture here in our school, we really embrace that there is a need in the trades. When you look at the economy and the way that jobs are changing and the world is changing, what's not changing is there is a dramatic need for students to enter the trades, where they have specific training and skills and can use the right equipment and can assist students. So it's broken into a number of different academies that are listed here. I originally had all the programs listed, but it was kind of really busy on the slide. But just, if you can think of it, they've got it or something like it at BOCES. Again, we're going to have a couple of our students talk later on about their experiences at the program. We'll let Mr. Bertolano talk about our arts accomplishments.
Thank you, Mr. Lawler. As you can see, what do I have to say? Ms. Hastings, Ms. Tremblay, you're wonderful. I mean, you're wonderful. Look at the accomplishments, come on. That's outstanding. Look at the gold awards. 20 students, 45 works of art earned honorable mention. Keep on going. Look what we do in the course. Miss Budrick, come on. Where's Dr. Orsi? This is unbelievable. Our productions, I'm sure you saw it already. I'm a little upset about something, but that's neither here nor there. But they're just absolutely fantastic. That speaks for itself, folks. Next one, please. Okay, we know what happened. Section 9 of football lost a tough one, a heartbreaker. You can see for the accomplishments. Look how many kids are involved, 225. Our winter, and that's a long season. My God, we have some combined teams too. We have a kid on the wrestling team, which I really think is going to make it to the States. Our spring sports are always well attended. 177 kids, fantastic. And the bottom, what's very important, the scholar athletes. Our section titles speak for itself. John O'Donnell runs a fantastic program. That's all I can say. Next one, sir. Clubs. Our drama club, Mr. Budrick, I can't say enough. They're fantastic. The kids are absolutely great. FCCLA, you just saw what happened with Ms. Giacoya. As you can see, the rest are Science Olympiad, Student Senate. I think Janessa does a wonderful job. You saw the program a couple of days yesterday with Pearl Harbor. Fantastic. On the 5th, excuse me. And our yearbook is always top notch. These kids work hard. People work hard for them. We run a great bunch of clubs and activities. Thank you, sir.
All right, so in terms of future considerations, always want to evaluate how we're doing. Considering electives in business, technology, anything certainly in the STEM-related fields or fields that are going to help students to progress toward the modern economy, and that's actually Mr. Brooks and Ms. Heck talked about that, talked about our meeting after school. That was a great meeting that we had, a very reflective meeting where we realized that there's some adaptations that we need to make in our program over time that we're going to be looking to make to help our students really be ready for the world out there. Continue to focus on the ninth grade transition. We actually have a group of teachers who have been involved in a meeting, and we're going to have a number of other meetings because we've noticed it's something we want to kind of accelerate the learning process for ninth grade students so that they hit the ground running a little bit faster over time, and we really want a kind of a cohesive way that we work with those students. So that's a new committee that we formed in the building this year, and we're really making a lot of progress in that area. Integrating technology and instruction and learning. So we have the pilot for our Chromebooks has continued. Most of our teachers are using Google Classroom, which is something that enables students to have access 24/7 to their material and their information. So it's really been a big deal and well embraced in our school. I really feel like we've embraced that instructionally. Our teachers are going to be very happy to adjust. I'm proud of our teachers, and of course our students didn't need any time to adjust. You know, they're ready to go. They're kind of born ready for this world. It's sometimes us that has to figure it out. I'm really proud of our staff, like I said, that we moved in that direction. And then again, we really do want to focus toward the STEM careers, and we're going to have a presentation that's going to lead in that area as well. So at this point, we're going to start to work with our students and staff and kind of see some of the things they put together. I'm actually going to start with 2 videos. So I'm just going to dim those lights. Probably good, sir. So the first one, Mr. Gray runs a class called video production, and this is what we call a commercial. A commercial is a template that is put together that then you have background music, which sort of allows you to put in clips and get a sense of a place. And that's what this is a commercial. This was put together by Jared Stevens. Jared, are you here tonight? No? Okay, I thought he might be here, but Jared put this together. I put a lot of work into it, and we appreciate that. Ms. Budrick's moving already. This was working before, I promise.
I didn't touch anything.
There was a button we had to push. Thank you, Ms. Budrick.
bring you out of the cold.
All right, so next we have a project by Ryan Ash. Ryan Ash was working incredibly hard on this even today to kind of meet tonight's deadline. Ryan is actually ill. He worked on this sick today and kind of crawled home at the end of that experience. I really appreciate the effort that he put into it. I'm really proud of him. He took a GoPro and just sort of wanted to give people a flavor for what happens in the day of the life of a high school student. Or maybe an error occurred. This is not fair. This also worked.
Try refreshing the page.
In that 12-passenger van in a small club in Minnesota, and the snow outside of First Ave. I just wanted my name in the star. Now look at where we at, still growing up, still growing up. I would lay in my bed and dream about what I've become. Couldn't wait to get older, couldn't wait to be some. Now that I'm here, wishing I was still young. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe. Someday these will be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Wish I didn't think I had the answers. Wish I didn't drink all of that blast first. Wish I made it to homecoming. Got up the courage to ask her. Wish I would have gotten out of my shell. Wish I put the bottle back on that shelf. Wish I wouldn't have worried about what other people thought. I felt comfortable with myself. Rooftop open and the stars above. Moment frozen, sneaking out and falling in love. Me, you, and that futon. We just begun. On the grass dreaming, figuring out who I was. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe. Someday these will be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Never thought we'd get old. Maybe we're still young. Maybe you always look back and think it was better than it was. Maybe these are the moments. Maybe I've been missing what it's about. Been scared of the future, thinking about the past, while missing out on now. We've come so far. I guess I'm proud, and I ain't worried about the wrinkles around my smile. I got some scars. I've been learning. I felt some pain and seen some things, but I'm here now. Those good old days.
You don't know what you got till it goes, till it's gone. You don't know what you got till it goes.
didn't realize they put that on the end. The first version I saw was really fast, so. Okay, so at this time, if you can get the lights back up, it'd be great, and we are going to ask Haley Pisenza and Vinny Garita to come on up and talk about CTEC for a moment. All right, we're going to start with Vinny. He's going to talk about heavy equipment.
Hi everybody. My name is Vincent Garita, and I go to CTEC for heavy equipment. So basically, I got interested when I was 7. We have a retaining wall in our backyard, and my dad had someone to come and use the excavator to take it down and a bulldozer to make it even, all that stuff. So I hopped up in there with the guy, sat on his lap, operated it, and I fell in love from there. So when I found out about CTEC, I saw that heavy equipment. I took it, I love it, and it's just a great program. So right now, in BOCES, or the current program that I'm taking, we're studying the diesel engine, because in the program that I'm taking, it's like diesel tech and then you operate as well. We study the different types of soil there is, learn about diesel engines and reciprocating engines, so basically a car engine and a diesel engine. The class is mainly hands-on, with 1 day a week we do math and English, which in English we work on our resumes, and in math we work on learning about different types of weights and the counterbalances of vehicles. You learn all the, you learn about the different types of equipment, how to operate them. You receive a certificate on that you know how to operate the equipment. So my future plans is to get a certificate in the types of equipment that I use. I want to join Local 825, which is the Operators Engineers Union, and then in the class, this will help me pursue that because I'm going to have a basic beginning on how to operate the equipment, and then this will just help me start my career.
Nice job.
So Haley's in the nursing program. We're going to let her talk about that.
Good evening, folks. I am Haley Pisenza. I am the nursing assistant. The nursing assistant in Orange County BOCES. My program, we go out to clinical 2 days a week, and we have math and English. Our math and English results in resumes, portfolios to get us prepared for our future, and math is all regarding blood pressure, anything to do with that. I always wanted to go into the medical field because it was just my passion to always help people. My mom was a phlebotomist, so that's kind of where I got interested in it. The current program I am in right now is Certified Nursing Assistant. We learn the bones in the body, how they operate. We study diseases and whatnot, how the body functions, communication skills, and safety is always our top priority. My future plans, as of right now, I'm currently going to join the United States Air Force, and my job that I am currently in the process of getting is surgical services. So I will be going out into the fields, flying all over, helping the troops and fixing them. My goal in the end of that is to become a pediatrician because I love kids and the fact that I would get to help kids become better. And yeah, that's
So next we're going to have students come up and talk about our link crew. So if I could ask Natasha Borchard, Megan Bach, Ariana Brown, and Nora Serta to come up and talk for a few moments about their experience with link crew. So Link Crew is our induction program for 9th grade students that happens in the summer, and throughout the year students are placed into groups and given assistance to their transition here. I mentioned that as one of our goals, to continue with that and to try to get even better at working with 9th grade students. So I'm going to pass the mic. Who wants to talk first?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Natasha Borchard, and I'm a senior this year at Marlboro High School. I have been in Link Crew for 2 years now. This is my second year, and we're here to talk about the program tonight. Pass it over to Nora.
Hi, my name is Nora. I'm also a senior, and it's my first year in Link Crew.
Hi, I'm Ariana. I'm also a senior. This is my second year in Link Crew. Hi, I'm Megan. I'm a sophomore. I'm not in Link Crew, but I had experience with Link Crew, and Ariana was my leader.
So basically, Link Crew is a program kind of to link this freshman with the senior. So here at Marlboro, we can recognize that freshmen coming into high school, it's very nerve-wracking. It's a scary experience. You don't know what to do. You don't know how it's going to be. So the program is to just get like a group of freshmen together with a senior or junior, and just like help them through like the beginning of high school, and just to like ease their stress and make sure that the transition is nice and easy. So we just made like a little PowerPoint to talk about our program. Okay, so the application process is pretty rigorous. It starts off, teachers will recommend sophomores and juniors. So in the next year after, it's only juniors and seniors that can start. So a teacher will recommend certain students. Just getting a recommendation letter does not secure you a spot. You have to go through the application process. Last year's was a written application, but this year they changed it to make it a little more personal. They did a video on Let's Recap, so they gave you like 6 questions, 6 or 7, and you videotaped yourself answering them, which was a little scary, but it was okay. And it was more personal that way, so they could actually like get to know you a little better. And after we did the online application, we got a letter back saying that we were accepted into the program, and then we set up dates for training. And then we did our training, which was a mandatory training. We did 2 days of it in the summer, by the end of the summer before orientation. And in that training, we learned different skills that we could use to help the freshmen, because before you can teach them what to do, you got to teach yourself. So Ms. Antoli, Ms. Rogers-Carroll, and Ms. Russo, they trained us, and Nora's going to tell you a little more about that one.
So basically what we did, the training during the summer, we came in during the morning and we took our time to basically get to know each other, not just help out the freshmen, also get to know each other as leaders, because that's also very important, cooperation and knowing leadership skills and how to go away with learning your freshmen about life and how high school is, because it's very important.
All right, so in this slide, we did a practice tour. So Miss Rogers-Carroll actually kind of gave us like a point of view. So like we were the freshmen and she was like our leader. So we just got a tour around the school. All right, go to the next slide. And then this is again our training. We just learned what to do with the freshmen when they came out. Yeah. So this is the freshman orientation. So how Link Crew works is there's 2 leaders, and they each get a group of 12, 15 freshmen. And so that's your group for the year. And then for orientation, each group you pick a theme. So for example, this year my theme was Halloween. So I got different costumes for my freshmen, and we kind of like dressed up and stuff. And before we go on the tour, we kind of like do activities to like kind of get them less nervous. So like we do one like a massage train kind of, and it's like kind of funny, and they start laughing, so it gets them kind of less stressed. Yeah.
Okay, so during the orientation, we did a lot of activities that also made us know the freshmen even more. And the one on the bottom, it was really big. The freshmen loved it. They love it a lot, especially my freshmen. Basically, we made a scenario and we placed about 64 pieces of paper. I want to say 64. And then basically, we had to guide them through the path, and basically directions was very important. You had to follow directions and basically cooperate with each other and be a leader, basically, in that point. Yeah, next slide. That's me. Yeah, that's Alex, yeah. My freshman, so far what I did, not everything ever so far. Like, you can do little things, it doesn't have to be big. Like, I give them high fives, I hug them, I talk to them, I say, how are you? I hug them a lot, they actually hug me, so. And I made, like, good friends with them. I didn't think I'd be friends with them, but you make connections with them, and I think that's the beauty of Link Crew and the beauty of knowing your freshmen, because you never know if you'll be friends with them, and you might be, so it's beautiful.
My freshman year, I was like terrified of becoming a freshman and moving into high school, but I know that Link Crew helped out so much. Ariana was a big help. I loved her as a leader. She like handed out cookies and things like that. I saw her in the hallway. She'd always asked about like how I am. And even in drama club, I didn't really know a lot of people when I first joined, and having a familiar face there was really nice. And everyone in Link Crew was also so welcoming and open, and I appreciated that as a freshman.
So part of Link Crew is also not letting the freshmen forget your face after orientation. That's like one of our key goals there. So we wanted to make it so that our freshmen like still knew us all the time, and that we would have little programs with them. So one of our like group scheduled activities was a games night we put on September 15th. It was kind of in the beginning of the year, so it was a perfect time for us to catch up with the freshmen, like see how it was going, how their classes were going, and it was also a fun night for us to just get together and just play some games. So we did basketball, we did volleyball in the gym, we had board games of all different kinds, some pretty hard ones too. And we did Twister, and we all mixed together. It wasn't just our groups, we all like came together, so it wasn't like so like, oh, like regimented, like we had to do this and this and this. It was like fun, it was a fun activity. We made them actually want to come, so it was good. We had a lot of people, and we had a great like turnout and great comments from everybody. They all had a great time, and they wanted another game night, so we got to work on that one. We had an ice cream social. We also did the ice cream social, which was further down the road. I forget when that one was, but it was after that one, October sometime. And we had stewards donate ice cream and like a Sunday kit. And it was early in the morning. It was like on a half day, so that was great. The freshmen felt pretty cool that they were the only people that got ice cream that day. And it was more than just an ice cream social, though. We got together again and talked about like their times in high school, and we did some more like activities and like just some things that we had also been trained in to do. We did problem solving and like just other activities like that, and they also evaluated us on how we were doing. We weren't allowed to look at them, but my crew all assured me that I was doing a great job, so I didn't have to look at them for that one. But yeah, so basically to wrap it all up, Link Crew is a great program. It's a great program to get everyone introduced into high school and to just make sure everyone's not alone. Our quote this year was, "We rise by lifting others," and I think from all the freshmen and all the seniors and everyone in Marlboro, we can say that we did just that. So, all right, thanks everyone.
So before we get to the next event, which is going to be talking about Spanish Honor Society, I'll just take a moment with Link Crew. Link Crew is something that I've been here a little over 2 years now. I never heard of Link Crew before. I know that there have been induction programs in schools before that help students feel comfortable, but it really was the staff telling me who had been around, when we had a flourishing Link Crew program, it really was an incredible experience here in our school. Mrs. Natoli is here tonight. She's back there. Let's give her a round of applause, please, for bringing us forward. Along with Mrs. Russo and Mrs. Rogers Carroll talked to me about this. They kept talking to me about us. I did some research and learned very quickly that it really was that kind of amazing experience. The students who just presented probably don't even realize that such an impact for them because they have learned how to lead. They've learned how to welcome others in the school. It sets a tone in our school that we want students, the moment they enter our school, to feel welcome and to really feel like a part of things here. And then obviously for our students who are younger and joining us, our first-year students in the high school, it really is a comfortable way for them to transition here. So I'm extremely proud of the program. It's doing everything it's supposed to, and it's absolutely essential to everything that we do to get things kicked off for students here in the school. Thank you. So we will actually ask Ariana to come on back up with Madison Doran to talk about the Spanish Honor Society.
Hi everyone, I'm Madison Duran. I'm the president of Spanish Honor Society, and we're just going to be talking about what Spanish Honor Society has been working on so far this year. And you know where I am. So we, Ariana and myself, were very moved by a lot of the pictures that we were seeing on social media from the devastation in Puerto Rico, from natural disasters. As you can see, it was very destructive, and we wanted to do something to help. So we did some research to see what would be a good item that students would want to buy for a fundraiser, and so we came up with the idea of having stick-on wallets that you can put on the back of your phone. Yeah, we both have them, and yeah, we love them. We put our ID in them, and we actually were able to make a profit of about $370 to donate, and so we're really happy about that. Yeah. We also were able to sell some artistic greeting cards that Ms. Smith donated. And we made some money from that as well. So our students sold those at the Falcon. That was another part of our fundraiser. Here we have some of our members selling during lunch periods. We also sold during some sporting activities, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we also have Filmy Fun Nights almost every month, and so some of our members go down to the MES and we just play games with the kids. One night we did Spanish bingo and they really enjoyed that. We have done crafts, we just play games, basketball. But we play games, concentration, it's classic. Yeah, they really love the crafts and everything, and it's a lot of fun for us as well as the kids. So yeah, we really enjoy that. We also, some of us go down to the elementary school to read to the ESL children. Me and Ariana have both been going since last year, and we go every week. And we just read to them, sometimes in Spanish, and we just have fun with them, and they really enjoy that too, and we really love it. So that's really fun. We also are working on some future fundraising activities, and because we are reading Don Quixote in college Spanish right now, we thought it would be fun to see a performance of it in New York City. So we're working on that. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so next we have an acting improv demos sketch, which Dylan Chanowski is going to come up and explain, and those students come on up and join us on stage here. So this is the kind of thing that you bump into. You walk into the auditorium and it looks kind of, you know, chaotic at times and semi-organized, and then suddenly there's a command given and you watch the students really just take over. It's really amazing what they put together, and they're going to do something that they have not practiced tonight. It's something that is just an improv that, you know, is a sample of what happens sometimes in these moments.
Hi, my name is Dylan Chanowski. I'm a freshman, as some of you know, and I'm here so that you don't get too confused with what we're doing tonight from acting class. We're actually doing an improv, which is a type of live theater in which we don't know anything about what's going to happen. So they're setting up those chairs, and we know the premise of the game, which is taxi cab. And the game is someone sits in one seat and they're the driver. Then they call someone in and they have a specific quirk. Everyone in that car has to have the same exact quirk as the person that just walked in. And at certain points, it gets random, it gets wild. We usually do this at the very end of class to like wrap it up and have fun. And we're just gonna do it for you now.
We're in a library.
I'm sorry.
Will you just be quiet?
Can I sign out a book? Can I sign out a book?
No.
Please.
No.
Teach me about the Dewey Decimal System.
Look, I'm not. I'm just a student.
Okay.
Jeez.
Sorry.
I'm trying to read.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? It's going good.
Yeah. Can I go to the library? I got like a scoop.
I'll read the library right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. I'm so
happy.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. I love these guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Why is the sky blue?
Why is the sky blue? Why
Just
is
like
grass
the
green?
ocean.
What?
How did we come here?
Why am I wearing black and orange? And what are colors? What are they?
How are they formed?
Look, how can you describe a color?
What's
Like,
the meaning
if you're
of
just-
light?
If you're just sitting there, how do you describe what yellow is? The meaning of hair. Hair?
Oh my God.
Just get out. Get out. Get out. Hey guys.
That was insane.
Oh my God.
That guy's crazy.
Cut it out.
I know, right? Oh, colors are so much fun. Okay, bye. Will you just be quiet already? I don't care.
Please.
Can you stop talking?
If you're gonna keep talking to me like that, you can get out of my car.
This is a library.
This is my cab, and if you keep talking to me like that, you can leave.
Fine.
That's what I thought.
What happened? There you go. another day, another dollar. Do my taxes. I hate this job, man. Yo, I love this song. Man, I don't even know what they're saying, though. Hey, you, come here. What are you saying?
It's a pleasure to meet you. Name's Nicolas Cage. You know, I once stole the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, dude.
Yo, but my name's Nicolas Cage, dude.
Clage, Nicolas Cage, like my last name. Dude, I had bees in my face once, and I was there like, not the bees! No, not the bees! There was bees everywhere. It was another movie, John Travolta and me, it was called Face Off.
Hold on. Hey, come here.
Nicolas Cage.
Hello, ladies! Hello! Drop me to the gas station to go to the bathroom! I want my snack! I'm hungry! Please, let's go to the gas station! I need to go to the bathroom! Please, keep driving! I'm getting faster! I need to go to the bathroom! What's your day? To the gas station!
We're almost there!
Okay, take me to the nearest coffee shop, because if I go one more second without coffee, I'm gonna go crazy.
I need coffee!
All you people with your coffee!
I need coffee! Everyone shut up. No, you need to get home.
Lattes are so much better!
Hey, I want to try latte.
I don't want to try latte. Is this a teacher?
That was my try latte!
Stop the call!
Okay.
Oh my god!
Get out the car!
Oh my god, just because you don't know what to do.
We need to go to the gas station! I need to go to the bathroom!
We are there! 3, 2, 1! We're there!
Thank you!
It was a pleasure meeting you. Alright, so there's another movie, okay? In this movie, I was Ghost Rider, okay? And I was like this skeleton dude, and my head was on fire.
Seriously, you should be dead right now.
What?
You should be dead right now.
Oh no, I should, but I'm Nicolas Cage on fire. Absolutely fire. Yo, this is actually my taxi, because I'm you. I need you to get out.
So our acting students appeared really nervous tonight. And Emily, that's not fair to sing like that. It's not fair. Oh, all right, okay. It sounded beautiful to me. So. All right, at this time, thank you for our acting students. This time, we want Jake Diana to come on up and talk about his portfolio.
Hello everybody, I'm Jake Diana. Within AP Art, students spend the entire year putting a portfolio together. The portfolio consists of 24 pieces. Before the school year starts, students are required to create 3 pieces over the summer. These are extra pieces that students can replace if they decide that they don't want to keep one of their 24 pieces. The first 12 pieces we make are called breath pieces. Our breath consists of a variety of different mediums, grounds, and subjects. It's basically experimenting with whatever we can. The last 12 pieces we make are called concentration pieces. This portion consists of focusing on one particular subject, and it is often done through the use of one medium to unify all 12 pieces. We usually create 1 piece a week, and students are expected to spend at least 8 hours on each piece, but some students tend to go above. It's difficult to pick a concentration and stick with it though, because that's 12 weeks of producing art pieces on the same topic. Some students tend to switch their concentration until they find something that they're most passionate about. After the portfolio is submitted to the College Board, a grade is given for each portfolio. On a scale from 1 to 5, students will pass with anything above a 3. Depending on the score, colleges will often knock off a class, which is usually an elective. This is my second year in AP Art, as well as taking a full schedule of other college classes. It is a lot of hard work to balance between everything, but in the end, taking this class will be well worth my time and effort. I've been able to knock off almost an entire year at college. After high school, I plan on attending Savannah College of Art and Design or Ringling College of Art and Design and pursue a career in computer animation. I have been accepted to SCAD, and I am currently waiting to hear from Ringling. But no matter which college I decide to attend, I am extremely grateful that AP Art has led me there. This is some work that I created last year. My concentration you can find in the top left corner or the bottom right. I did it on personal experiences with bullying and how it can affect people. Try to make people more aware of the consequences that they have. This is some of the work that I've created this year. And that's really it. Thank you.
Most of you probably know that Frida's in the spring. I'm not sure of the date yet, but there'll be a public unveiling of all of the art portfolios up on the second floor. You're going to see a number of students will have works of art. It's just incredible. I really encourage all of you to come and join and visit us. Certainly, if you can't make the event, it's usually on display for about 2 weeks. Come on up and take a look at the works of art that our students put together. There's also a display out in the main lobby. All right, so now we're going to have algebraic fluency bottle flipping. We're going to ask Mr. Kuntz, Mr. DiVenuto, Ms. Schoonmaker to come on up, some of our students, and talk about the bottle flipping project. So bottle flipping basically was a scourge in the nation last year. It's one of these micro things that happens for 2 or 3 weeks that just goes crazy. Schools ban it, it happens. Our math teachers decided to turn it into a math problem and to design a bottle. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but different bottle design ideas. And so they took something that was from popular culture, that was a problem in schools, and really turned it into an awesome experience in our school. Mr. Kuntz.
Bob Coombs. Just want to make sure I shout out to Donna Schoonmaker. Also teaches algebraic fluency, and John DiVenuto, our tech man. Right now, real quick, while I'm trying to set up what we're going to show you, I'm going to have each student just introduce themselves and pass the mic, and then we'll get ourselves going.
I'm Warren Kavanaugh.
I'm Conley.
I'm Ryan Cosby, the donkey hunter of the school. Kevin Mayer. Benjamin Ricketts Gordon.
Joe DeSol.
Emma Waseski. Sierra Casey.
All right, so what we did was, and again, you heard from Haley and Vinny about how they were inspired by, going into the fields that they wanted to. So I also was inspired. Last year, study hall, 8th period, every single day there was a group of seniors, and all they did was, guys, can you show them what bottle flipping actually is? And every single day, we're trying to get very good. But every day they would just, you guys can flip, don't be casual. Now, we made a deal. I said either you're going to explain it and you do the actual work, or I'm going to do that. I'm not very good, so they decided. So anyway, 8th period, they just kept flipping, and it was making me crazy. So I said, why don't we mathetize it? That's a new word. And then at the end, it turned out to be a STEM project because we brought in Mr. D, and it just kind of went from there. So the project itself is in 3 parts. The first part was they chose 4 different bottles of any size. And what they did was they filled it with either half filled with water or 1/3. And we tried to be consistent. They tried to make sure that they were flipping it the same way over and over. Because our goal in the end was to create the best bottle to be the bottle flipping champion of the universe. So what we did was, math-wise, we kept score. We tallied, we made frequency histograms. We did percentages to find out of those 4 bottles, which one was the best. Okay, from there, we found, very good, we found a bottle out of those 4 that was the best. Then they took that bottle and went back. By the way, they're flipping it 50 times. So we had groups and groups of waters all over the place. So it was crazy. So anyway, the second round was we need to find the exact amount of water that we need to make the bottle land successfully. So that was another 50,000 flips, I think. Okay? There was one bottle, and I'm going to call out Joe DeSaul to come out. Joe, can you grab your bottle? Joe was famous. It's right behind the curtain. I had to hide it. Joe, and he brought this bottle out. Joe, do it on the rug. Just be careful. Be ready for that. Oh. No lie, when he flipped that, my room is directly over the main office. So they had a lot of complaints. But anyway, Joe was probably 90% of getting that to flip the right way. And we figured out mathematically that it's all about the surface area. The bigger the base, the better it was for us to have that success. So anyway, that was phase 2, right? Found the best bottle, found the best amount of water. Then what we did, we brought in, I have iPads, where you got a slow motion app, and what we did was, and somebody can look the graph here. And what we did, again, we're trying to just show this here. They took a bottle and they flipped it with the iPad, taking a slow motion picture of it. And what we did was we got a parabolic path that we created a quadratic function for. That's all algebra, that's our region stuff, that's where I tied it into what we're doing in classes with that. So again, stop action, they plotted the points, they created the function, they used a computer program called Desmos, where they can go in and manipulate the actual functions to make the paths, okay? And basically, that was our 2 phases. The math-heavy part right there was followed with Regents questions that they would see. And then the part that they really enjoyed the most, at least my class did, I think Donna will say the same thing, is they really enjoyed the fact that they were able to create what they believe would be the best bottle. And I'm going to leave that. There's a video here. Mr. G's going to show us. This is what we're trying to simulate here. Slow motion. We were able to stop that and get ordered pairs. You can see real closely. There's an orange dot. We use that as our point of reference. So we tried to make this as scientific as we could, as precise as we could with the materials and the technology that we had. So then I had this idea, well, hey, they're going to create their own dimensions. They laid out the plans. Then I went to Mr. D and I said, hey, Mr. D, can you use your 3D printer and actually create these objects? So these are some of the plans. Students with their plans. This is Donna's room. They had these pictures all over the boards. It was pretty cool.
Marketing skills, they had to get up there, they had to name their bottle, they had to modify the design that they liked the best in some way. So it had to be a significant modification. They had to show all the dimensions. They had to discuss concave bottoms, if that's what they wanted, surface area. Some of them changed the tops, and it really got, it was nice. A lot of communication skills, and it worked out well.
John has his, here, John, I got you right here.
So then they took their designs and all their dimensions down to the technology room to have their designs made into 3D models, which we have some to show.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John DiVenuto. I teach computers and technology in the high school. I just wanted to mention, just give a shout out to the student who helped me basically create most of these and cut the time down to a few days. That'd be Anthony Gatillo, who's not here tonight. But I just wanted to mention that he did a great job helping me. Now, before I get to this, I feel like Steve Jobs up here. So what I have on the board here is the designs that were handed to me. So as Mr. Coons and Mrs. Schoonmaker mentioned, the students made 2D designs. They used measurements, they put everything together, and simply I was asked to make the 3D models of them. So I use Autodesk Inventor. If you've ever seen it before, it takes 2D models and makes them 3D. So long, if you could go to the next slide, I'm sorry. Once you draw the 2D design, you add the Z, the X, Y, Z. We'd add that, we use the rotate option, and these are 2 examples of the models that we created in class. Once these were created, we would send them to the 3D printer. Next slide. And I took some pictures. I know it's not the easiest thing to see, but on the left, that was about halfway through one of the models where it was being printed. And on the right, I took an aerial view. I know it's hard to see like I mentioned, but it basically goes around creating layer by layer each design that the students made. We made about 6 or 7 models towards the end. And in the end, I took just a widescreen shot of each model that was created that Miss Schoonmaker, she went, currently has. Is probably passing them around the room, and you guys can check it out. But basically, what I wanted to get into a little bit, this is 3D printing. Years ago, let's say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, thank you. Years ago, when I first started, I mean, we spoke about 3D printers, read about them. They were thousands of dollars. They were huge. Basically, if you think of how computers started, it took up an entire room. The example I use is Orange County Choppers. They have one 3D printer, print anything they want, $30,000, $40,000. So it was a pipe dream. Didn't know if we could ever get one. A few years ago, got my first 3D printer, not this one. It was slightly bigger, had a lot of issues. Now I have this printer. The size of it is much smaller, much cheaper, and we can basically print anything we used to print with the older printers. And as you can see, I brought it with me because they're so small, so compact now, and so cheap that we could actually purchase more. We could print more. We could push towards that engineering goal. The main idea, and I could do this as much as I can in class, I could show images on computer screens. I could show them on paper. I could do designs. I could do as many as I can. But it isn't until you can actually create a 3D model and show the student what they actually designed, that's when you really grasp their interest. And I feel half of my job is to push the kids into the technology field, the science field, to get them interested to go into that field when they're older. I feel like that is extremely important. And to just simply show them the textbook or just talk about things just isn't enough anymore. You have to show, you created this on the computer, on paper, here it is. You can print it out on a 3D printer. So, like I said, my goal is to influence and hopefully get the kids interested into these fields, math, science, technology, math, the STEM fields, and the STEAM fields. And I just want to show that, and that's all. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you for coming up. Thank you for our help, everybody. So again, what's neat about the project for me is we take something from pop culture, we turn it into, out of frustration, apparently I just learned that tonight, we turn that into a math problem, and then we turn that into something that we design and we see that we can build and we actually build it. Well, I was thinking of fidget spinners, but now they say there's lead in those, so I don't want to go there. Yeah, that may be true. So next we're going to ask Mr. Fassel to come on up and some of the students talk about what they work on in EERT. So you may hear rumors of stormtrooper helmets and small planes that fly on our campus. Those are both true. Mr. Faust is going to talk about that.
Hi, everyone. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to let these guys talk. I have Christos here and Nate. They're both pivotal places in my class. I'm very proud of them. So we're going to start with Nate first. Nate will be my model. Come on, Nate. So Nate, why don't you describe the process of how we got to the point where we have a just about functioning helmet that we can use.
All right, so first we 3D printed 16 pieces of the helmet originally. Then after that, we sanded it down, put some Bondo on it, some glue, and all together. After that, we put some primer on it, sanded a little more, put some more primer on it. Then we painted it, put some more details, and put the lenses in. So it's pretty cool.
One other thing we wanted to mention too for that helmet, so we printed all of those pieces in-house. The type of adhesive we used was called acrylic cement. It's specific because it actually welds the pieces of plastic together, unlike other adhesives. And then we have actually got an automotive clear coat finish, which we purchased. All right, so that's pretty much it. Looks pretty nice, right? All right, so now we have Christos. In another section of our engineering class, we, from scratch, built RC airplanes. So we have a bunch of these different pieces here. Christos, can you explain to everyone what's going on?
So basically, we just started from pieces of cardboard, put it together. Well, it's a simple design, so we could have gotten more expensive, already built one, but the great part about this is it uses cheap materials, and it's not a big deal if we crash them, break them, we can fix them easily, and it teaches us a lot about aerodynamics and how the planes work. This one has, I don't know if you can see, but there's two servos in there, and basically it pulls the V-tail, and that's what creates lift and steers it. And it differs from like your traditional 747 aircraft because usually you have elevator lifters and a rudder, but what's great about this is it's all in one. So basically you have your elevators and your rudder in one. Yeah.
A lot of moving pieces here. So what Christos is doing now is that we have LiPo batteries that we're using to power. All right, so now it's powered up. So Nate, do you want to, since I don't have any more hands, this is what I always like in class too. Just lots of moving pieces.
Should anyone move this?
Yeah. All right, so right now what we're going to do is Nate's going to use the controller, not the throttle right now, Nate. He's just going to use the motor, or turn like that. Good. So the crowd can kind of see how the elevator and they're actually called flap-arounds. Yeah, just from cardboard. And if you could just turn it like 90 degrees, like that. So they can kind of see the servos, the 8-gram servos in there. They're actually working. So Nate, can you kind of... Okay. Also, if you could turn it now with the prop facing them. Yeah. Now, hands are clear, right? So Nate, you want to hit the throttle a little bit? Okay. So right what we did here is we have, we're using multiple variables here. So with the prop itself, right now we have 3, so just face it toward the audience. We also had 2 props, so we're trying to figure out, one variable at a time, how to change one thing at a time. And one, as you see up here, with all these wings. Go ahead, Christos. Again, it's like class.
So basically, we upgraded the. Yeah.
Go ahead.
We upgraded. This was the standard wing, and we designed these other wings from scratch out of cardboard.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah. We basically upgraded the wing 2 times the size for more lift. And that was the one from last year. This is 1.5 the size. And we made this one to, it increases stability with the lift of the dihedral wings. And this one's basically a straight, very kind of like sleek design for to make for the lift of the aircraft, and it's light, so it makes it more aerodynamic.
Good job, Christos.
So overall, we just, again, manipulated one variable at a time to see what would happen, and we found that this wing itself was the most stable, but obviously it was the hardest one to turn. As we progressed, these two were the most sporty / most nimble or easiest to crash. One of the reasons why we use foam is because if they do crash, it's not a big deal. We can easily just make another one. But that's the whole point. It's the trial and error, and it's always the reproducing and always making it better. Because it's not ever going to be perfect, but we always work towards that goal, and we have a lot of fun when we do that. So I just want to thank these guys. They're a real pivotal point to my class. And I want to thank you for your time for being here tonight. So thank you guys.
All right, so that concludes our demonstration portion of the meeting, and I'm just really proud of this place. It's really just an amazing school from what you saw from the beginning. It starts with music, starts with the art as you walk in. We've just highlighted some things. We actually looked at some STEM activities tonight. The truth is we could have picked 50 other things that happen in a number of different classes, and we'll be doing probably different things next year to show you what's happening in the school. But I'm really proud to be here. I'm really honored to be a part of the experience in this building, and just know that as students are moving through their days here, just truly amazing things are happening. Students are finding things they're interested in and are really pursuing that. Our staff are incredibly dedicated. They came here tonight. The kids came here tonight to present our school to you. And at this time, I'll take any questions that you have about any of the presentations. Okay, thank you, everybody.
I feel like you're sitting on top of us, sitting this close.
No, they don't have my stay here. But these are frosted.
so much. I mean, I am so impressed with just the array of examples that you gave us, and I feel very excited for all of the students that are here now and the potential that they have to get involved in so many aspects of things to prepare themselves for future careers. So thank you to you and your staff and all the students that came out and clearly needed to get involved. So thanks for your time. Moving on to the final report. Last but certainly not least, to conclude our reports, I'll turn it over to Patrick Witherow to introduce Alex Silver.
Thank you. Mr. Chauvin is from our external auditing firm, so he's going to give us basically a synopsis of our fiscal performance for the 16-17 school year. Thank you.
I'll just give you a brief summary of the audit. The audit went very well this year. Your business staff, headed by Patrick, did an excellent job at confirming their procedures, maintaining internal controls, doing the books, and providing us with information that we needed in a very timely fashion. We have no recommendations in any area. I'd like to bring this up for auditing. My presentation is what we do in auditing now is heavy reliance on procedures and internal controls. Basically what we rely on your financial data. And we have no issues whatsoever. Financially, district remains in good condition. Your general fund balance, including your reserves, are very strong. Going forward, you have a sound financial base at the moment. That was an issue this year with taxes, but I think we have a good enough handle on it that it shouldn't be a problem in the end. One thing I want to bring up to you is a new law that's in effect for this year, 1718. It's the school district financial transparency law, whereby districts now have to put on your website certain financial data. That would include your budget, audit report, any long-term financial plans that you want to have, and also a reserve plan. I guess the state wants also districts data to be transparent and available to the taxpayers on your website. So, Patrick, if you have any questions on that or anything you need, just give me a holler. I have no bad news to report. Everything went very well. Your staff is enjoying working. I think we help each other very nicely. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain.
Do you have any questions?
I have a good question. How long does the report take and what's the cost?
How long does the audit take? We actually start doing what we call preliminary work in, let's say, early May. We'll have 2 or 3 of us, or, well, I'd say, let's talk in man days, maybe 4 to 5 man days before the end of the year. This is where we check all the procedures, do our transaction testing, do what we call a single audit on your federal programs. We get all that done before year end.
difference is that it needs to be put on the website?
Yes, that's what they want. I have I can give you this here, it's a blurb about it. I also have the actual law in my office if you like. Patrick wants that, I can send that out.
Yeah, we used to, I mean, we always did the presentation of the financial plan, and that presentation was always posted, but I think, we'll have to look at maybe putting a separate area right on the business page of the long-term financial plan, so people can access it directly.
So we have all the reports already, it's just a matter of how to present them now.
Yeah, since I've been here, pretty much we've been doing that long term.
I was gonna ask that question, if there were new things we haven't generated.
My only question on that would be the reserve plan.
The reserve plan that we addressed in our management response letter, we'll get the reserve plan formalized and put out.
Drop me an email too, because I have a boilerplate on that I can, that when we have used in a lot of our schools.
It is interesting to know, because, Alex did bring up the tax issue, which is the clerical error in the town of Newburgh, $1.2 million shortfall. I just do want to point out that we did recently get an improved rating through the S&P Global. They're a company that kind of rates risk on investment opportunities. So we did, even in acknowledgement of the $1.2 million loss, we went from an A to an A plus in our financial rating. So it's kind of indicative of that. Even though we experienced this problem in Newburgh, we were well positioned to handle it because we've had enough foresight to really get the district out to a stable situation with our reserves and fund balance.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to public comment on agenda items. Should you have a comment, please approach the microphone. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda items. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approve the consent agenda items such as the personnel recommendations, the second reading and adoption of policy section number 6000 and policy number 7521, the unofficial board minutes from November 16, 2017, and the CPSE reports as presented. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Joanne, second. Frank, any discussion? Again, on the personnel. Are we tagging? I don't have any questions ready.
I had a question on the personnel recommendations. Is there a connection between the two retirees and the two that are certificated?
No, we got the notice for those two retirements yesterday, so we added those to the agenda today. We actually posted yesterday in anticipation of the board accepting the retirements. So we'll begin the search for those replacements. Those are February 1st opening.
That's the same.
So the certificate, how do you say it?
Certificate.
Certificate, what does that imply? These are existing teachers that received the certifications?
No, those are appointments of two teachers. Certificated staff, they're not civil service staff.
So recently appointed?
You're appointing them tonight. One is Christine Kelly for the elementary position that will be assigned to the library in the middle school. And the other is Lillian Fu, who will be assigned to the middle school as a replacement for our music teacher in the middle school.
Excuse me, I lose the connections between
Quite
updates.
right. Yeah, I understand.
I do have, my question is, February 1st, then kind of it's like in the middle of the year.
It's not typical, however, it is allowable. They need to provide us with 30 days notice in order to retire. Or to leave this district. 30 days.
I guess I've never noticed that before.
And it's odd to have two at the same time.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Cast your vote.
Motion carried 5-0.
The motion has been carried 5-0.
So if I could, I'd actually like to acknowledge two retirements. Noreen DeVecchia and Cindy Floor, who are retiring as of February 1st. We'll do something a little more formal down the road. We also have a retirement that actually you've already approved or acted on, and is becoming effective actually the day of our next board meeting, which is Matt Gallagher. So you appointed tonight Lillian Fu, who unfortunately couldn't make it here tonight. She was going to try, but she is leaving the Utica School District to come here. She's a choral teacher in the Utica School District, having graduated from Ithaca College in May, and lives originally in Edison, New Jersey. So she's trying to move down closer towards this part of the state, but she really wants to be an instrumentalist. So this is a perfect fit. The middle school finished up that process this week, and I had a number of conversations with Lillian in my office and at the middle school, but also most recently yesterday. She really toiled with how to get here for tonight because she wanted to meet the community. But it is 2.5 hours to Utica. So I think she made the right decision because she does have to teach tomorrow in Utica. So welcome Lillian in abstention. But here tonight is our new librarian at the middle school, who is Christine Kelly. She lives in Kingston. She's doing some interesting work up in the Albany area that really has brought her, from a research perspective, interesting path that Christine and I talked about, and how she's landing here back in a school and going to be working with our middle schoolers and really bringing that library outside the walls. It was one of the things we talked about, bringing the information system from a different perspective. So Christine, with a your undergraduate degree from Harvard College in English and your graduate degree in childhood education from Pace University, certified in childhood education, grades 1 through 6. Christine, welcome to Marlboro.
I'm just going to add a little bit of guidance to the background. This is what I've been here for many years, and I do want to thank you very much for the service. All the things that they've done for many children throughout our school district, throughout our community also. So
It could actually be noted, Noreen DeVecchia, 45 years.
that's it.
I mean, God bless her. That's wonderful.
She hold the record?
I
She
think
does.
so.
Yeah.
She's the most senior on the staff. Listen.
I hope they both enjoy their retirement. But we will miss them.
Big shoes to fill.
Moving on to number 5, recommended actions. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, acknowledge receipt of the following: Marlboro Central School District financial statements, supplementary information, and extra classroom activity, fund cash basis reports as of June 30th, 2017, as presented, and letter of corrective action in response to the financial statements and supplementary information report as of June 30th, 2017, as presented. Can I get a motion to acknowledge receipt of the following? Craig, second. James, any discussion?
Just the only thing, I mean, we did meet, the audit committee met with the auditor earlier after we've had a chance to review it all. I know Pat's made a lot of work and the administration has to resolve, but we still have an issue with our extracurricular not meeting the timelines, but I know everybody's working on it, but it's better, but it's not where it should be yet.
With that comment, we do the external audit, which you just got a presentation on, the financial piece of it. But we also have an internal risk assessment audit where we look at the control procedures, segregation of duties, and part of that audit is we pick an area to do an intensive look at to basically make sure that all the processes, procedures, and protocols are up to snuff. The audit committee has selected the extra classroom activities area for the concentrated focus on the internal audit. So we are aware of the issues that persist in that area, and it's difficult because you have stipends for non-business people that oversee business type operations, and sometimes it takes a little bit to understand why processes and procedures occur certain ways. So we do expect that after we have that internal audit focus, that we're going to have some recommendations and some ability to tighten up those measures going forward.
Thanks, Pat. Sure.
Any further discussion? Cast your vote.
Motion carried 5-0.
Motion has been carried 5-0. Moving on to old business. Is there any old business that the board would like to address? It's 9:30. Any new business?
I just have one. Pat, have we looked at this new veterans tax exemption? Is it one that the governor just signed, that they talked about it on board this month? Is it something that the board has to approve separate, or is it one that's automatic?
I haven't had a chance to take a look at that. I'll take a look at it and have an answer for you.
Thank you.
I have something related to Mr. Lawler's presentation. I think it's good business, but it's really respect to one of our goals about trying to look for additional ways and additional measurements that we could use in our total packages to show success and where we stand overall. A couple of things jumped in my mind while you were talking on different pages that I wrote down. I'd just like to share it with you and maybe fuel for future thought. The first one was in the area of CTEC. I found it interesting that I didn't know myself how extensive that program was, and then listening to the students really kind of brought it home. But I noticed they had metrics for how many children graduate and go into college 2 and 4 years. I think it would be interesting to see how many students come out of the CTEC program and go into careers, and how deep they go into those careers, whether they get unions or where that was similar to the college. The second one was where you had the responses to, I think you call them at-risk students, that's what I wrote it. You talked about successes there, and I think that would be a great place to show some definition of what you use as these successful examples and maybe some measurements, because even low numbers there would represent significant progress, right? If you take at-risk students and you pull them out of it, or got them introduced into something more than they were doing before, that's a big deal, right? It's not so much the number as it is what you did in the process. And
Based on the number too.
But
Yeah.
that's, the at-risk students are also part of the MFA West that we had talked about. Maybe we can get them to come back to school, because maybe they don't really want to be here for certain reasons, and maybe they will fit in over there. So maybe we need to start looking at that, even if it's one student. If we can get one student to graduate and change their life, that's what, it's about. So instead of letting them go.
It's an option that's open there, so
Right.
I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, me too, it doesn't happen.
And then the last one is really borrowing from the presentation you saw at middle school, which was, they called it the sense of belonging, which was basically a measurement of what percent of the student population participates in something other than just core curriculum, clubs, drama clubs, sports, whatever. From the presentation, it seemed like that number's probably high. It would be an interesting, I think, metric across the board, right? And to me, that's how, when I was bringing this up multiple times, how things tie together. So going back to when we reinstituted, I'll use the middle school as an example, I'm sure there's high school examples, we brought back non-vet sports, brought back drama club, right? And now we're seeing in the middle school an increase in participation and tying that to a definition of sense of belonging, right? So that to me ties a story that says the community, well, the board and the community made an investment, assessment, right? It's not a hard number, and I know that's where we went back and forth on the numbers, that you're not gonna have hard scientific numbers in a lot of these things, but these are great examples, and see it's already happening. We can expand upon it. To me, it really broadens the whole picture of what the school is doing, and how it's succeeding in different ways that aren't necessarily state tests only. Right. In your case, the high school obviously has a lot of data. This is 100% participation, so that's clearly meaningful, right? But so many other things, and your presentation really brought it out. If I crawl through it, there's probably more. I think those are the kinds of things that I'd like to see us all try to focus on and expand upon. I think seeing those things a couple of times a year, just a couple, doesn't have to be each, but I think it would really help bring it all together to show the community and others just where your successes are and exactly how they are done in different ways.
John, it's a perspective that we also try to push through our MCSD Connections newsletters. Too.
Yeah,
We try to make sure we emphasize the 3 A's, so it's much deeper than just a number. So thank you for supporting it.
Tells a whole story. Thank you. Anyone else? For new business? Any other items? This time we will recognize district residents and others. Mr. Walters, would you please approach the podium?
I think the three items